Why is WTO consensus so difficult among 160 nations? Imagine trying to get a big group of friends to agree on where to eat. Now multiply that by hundreds of countries, each with their own ideas and needs. That's what the World Trade Organization faces every time it tries to make a decision. The WTO is a global group that helps countries trade with each other smoothly. It has 160 members, each with different economies, goals, and priorities. Reaching agreement among so many diverse nations is no simple task. The main reason is how the WTO makes decisions. It mostly relies on consensus, meaning everyone has to agree or at least not object. If one country blocks a decision, it can stop the whole process. This system is meant to include everyone and make sure all voices are heard. But it also makes progress slow because even a single country's disagreement can hold things up. Then there are the different economic interests. Some countries are very rich and industrialized, like the United States or Germany. Others are developing nations trying to grow their economies, like India or Nigeria. These differences lead to conflicting views on trade rules. For example, a rich country might want fewer tariffs, while a developing country might want to protect its local industries. Finding common ground becomes tricky when everyone's priorities are so different. Trade agreements are another challenge. They often involve sensitive issues like tariffs, subsidies, or market access. These are big topics because they directly affect a country's economy and jobs. Negotiating these can be like walking a tightrope, as countries try to protect their own interests while also wanting to cooperate globally. When global economic trends shift, like new economic powers emerging or trade patterns changing, it adds another layer of complexity. Countries may want to change their trade strategies, making it harder to stick to agreed rules. To work around these difficulties, the WTO has created smaller groups called plurilateral agreements. These are agreements made by a subset of members who share similar goals. They allow like-minded countries to cooperate more easily without needing everyone to agree. Another approach is joint statement initiatives, where groups of countries work together on specific issues. These methods help move trade talks forward even if full consensus isn't possible. But the biggest challenge remains the gridlock. Sometimes a single country's veto can block progress, leaving negotiations stuck. Some people suggest changing the rules to allow majority voting on certain decisions, especially for routine matters. This could speed things up while still keeping important issues subject to consensus. In the end, the difficulty in reaching agreement in the WTO comes down to the wide range of economic interests and the decision-making process. While consensus is important for fairness, it can slow down progress. Finding ways to balance cooperation with efficiency is an ongoing challenge. Still, the WTO continues to adapt by creating new agreements and methods, aiming to keep global trade flowing smoothly among its many diverse members.